update contents of version 2.1.0. Was that there before? And she was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Made me feel so like, huh? A millionaire before grandma dies. Barbie, but for the horror girlies. Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday. It's been 2 days since we've last seen each other. But this is the progress I'm making so far at the power plant. Honestly, not as bad as I was anticipating originally. I did level up some of my Pokemon, so I think that helped a lot because it just raised my overall RP. So if we take a looky over here, I actually maxed out my Diopside. I also decided to level up my Quaxquavel, my Yeve right there. And now we are at 14k RP, which is the highest I've reached so far. So I'm really excited to hopefully soon hit that milestone to get some goodies. But first things first, actually let me show you guys what I caught while we were away from each other for 2 days, because it is a little sad if I have to say. So I did catch 2 new Arons, right? And they are both mixed ingredients, as you could see here. But can you believe the shock on my face when I saw that they were both adamant? Like, how freaking sad, right? And then this I caught just because it was hungry. So we got this little Caterpie over here, which we will not be using, so I might as well just send them out right now to the professor to get some candies. But that was my research catches. So let's see what we are going to get for Wednesday night on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Got balance type. There's a little fluff on my screen. Whoa, why is everything lagging like that? Got a Shinx, which is good. We got a Belly Up Ekans and a Sprigatito. So I definitely do want to throw some cookies at the Shinx. There's nothing else really that I want to catch from this grouping of Pokemon. Metapod showed up again. Yesterday Metapod also showed up for me along with 2 Caterpies. So quite a bit of bug type Pokemon in the area. We got the 4-style Sleep Flaffy, which is nice. Uncovering more of sleep styles we haven't yet discovered yet. Alright, so Dugtrio's hungry. Sprigatito's hungry. Alright, so I'm gonna give my bonus biscuit to Shinx. We are gonna be 1 over, but that's fine. Oh my gosh, do you hate it when that happens? That was like absolutely overkill. Alright, so it was as if that was hungry. We're gonna give a cookie to Sprigatito because why not, right? Wow, and that was a critical capture. Alright, and because our Dugtrio is hungry, I'm gonna just give 1. Do I need another Dugtrio? No, not really. But you know what? Might as well. Actually, I could have better Dugtrios now that I think about it. Alright, so we do have 2 Pokemon to review. Let's see whether or not we get any good stats on them. Oh, maybe I should have put Flaffy Candy. I know some people are using Ampharos on their team. Like myself, I am using Ampharos. And I just feel like skill triggers on my Ampharos are higher frequency than my Espeon, especially double triggers. So it's a lonely nature. We got triple tomatoes. Skill trigger S and M before 50, that is really great. Helping speed S, ingredient finder S, inventory up L at the very end, and the nature is speed of help up and energy recovery down. I actually do not mind this. So lots of potential there, especially for farming tomatoes. Alright, so it's a quirky nature. We got potatoes, milk, and potatoes. It is also a cooking power up Pokemon. We got skill trigger M, helping speed S, skill trigger S at 50, inventory up M, and inventory up L. The nature is quirky, so it's a docile nature. I have better, so I think I'm going to send that back to the professor. I also, because I keep forgetting to swap my team out at nighttime to run my berry farmers, especially because during the daytime I have my Wigglytuff, right? So my energy is pretty much sustained and it's almost always above 100. Oh my gosh, I do not have enough beans or leeks, so let me do something about that. Diopside farms too many mushrooms now ever since I maxed it out, which is kind of a problem. But I think I'll swap out my Merino. We'll bring in my bean dude. See if I can level this guy a little. Barely enough. I think that should be fine. But yeah, because I have my Wigglytuff, my energy is pretty much always at 100 or above by the end of the night. So I really should be swapping out my team before my sleep session to a berry finding team so that I can benefit from sneaky snacking. However, I always forget, you know? It's just not something I'm used to. Oh my gosh, I got 2 Poke Biscuits. That's the most I've gotten from the daily gift. It's gonna be a really good day today. So I actually did that for the first time yesterday. I put out my electric type team. I'll show you guys. Well, almost electric. I didn't have another electric that could fit that slot, so I decided to just put my Diopside. And I was able to get 20k sneaky snacking last night, which is really great. It added quite a big jump for me, and I was able to reach Ultra 1 this morning. And there was also some maintenance, so let's go over it really quickly together. These are the update contents of version 2.1.0. And basically it's preparations for the Halloween candy, which is, sorry, not Halloween candy, Halloween event, which is the double candy research event. There's also going to be new alarms. One is called Berry Collection and the other is Quiet Awakening. So I'm quite curious to see how Berry Collection sounds. Sorry, I said find because, you know, you find berries. And the addition of the new main skill that we are all anticipating, the Mimikyu main skill, Disguise. And then in terms of game contents, a pop-up notification when an incense is not used during your sleep research and is returned to your bag instead, which is pretty handy because I definitely had that moment where I'm like, oh shoot, did it use up my incense? That actually, it happened when that little device over there ran out of battery mid-sleep, and that was when I popped an incense. So I kind of panicked that I wasted an incense, but no, it just went back to my bag. The other thing, adjustments to targets for main skill Energizing Cheer S. So the probability of this main skill targeting helper Pokemon with the lowest energy on your team has raised a little bit more, which is nice. And then adjustments to the helper Pokemon's main skills and main skill chance. This is specifically for Houndour and Houndoom. So before the change, it was called Charge Strength S. And after the change, it is now called Charge Strength M. So Houndour and Houndoom is getting a little bit of a buff. So due to these main skill changes, the main skill chance will be lowered slightly though, which makes sense because you don't want to be too OP'd. And then Umbreon, arguably a lot of people's favorite evolution, Umbreon and Espeon. So before the change, it was called Charge Energy S, alright? But after the change, it is now called Moonlight or Charge Energy S. In brackets. So they're doing like that bracket thing, kind of like how Disguise Berry Burst and stuff like that. So probably going to see more of that in the future as they bring more Pokemon. So kind of just to get us used to that now. But So let's see, due to these changes, or due to these main skill changes, the main skill chance will be lowered slightly. And this skill will restore energy to the user. But if a great success occurs, as we've seen with great successes being introduced for the new main skill, so if a great success occurs, it will now also restore a small amount of energy to a random Pokemon on your team. And note, main skill levels will be maintained after the update. Main skills of Pokemon you have already befriended will also change. So it's kind of like becoming a energy tier S if you're lucky. But you know what, there was some talk about this on the Discord, and someone mentioned that they were surprised when they saw Umbreon and Espeon had different skills, considering that Glaceon and Flareon share the same skills. And I just gotta say, I felt the same way, because I really felt like Umbreon is that type of Pokemon that would have charge strength M like Espeon, you know? I also felt that way when I caught my first Lucario or Riolu, and I noticed it was Dream Shard Magnet, because who the hell uses Dream Shard Magnet? I thought that Pokemon would have been also a charge strength Pokemon, because, you know, like fighting and fists and everything. So yeah, not sure exactly why they decided to do this on Umbreon. I think this was their attempt of like buffing it a little to make it a little more special, to give it that flair. I can appreciate though that they called it the skill Moonlight instead, because, you know, like Umbreon and the moonlight, and to them it's like recharging under the moonlight and stuff. But yeah, lots of mixed feelings I've seen towards that. And then adjustments to certain helper Pokemon's helping stats. So the Halloween Pikachu is going to have a slightly shortened frequency. And then some other changes is a change to a research community sharing option. So after the update, your tracking device sharing option will automatically be set to on. But you can choose what to share with your friends to the sharing option on the lower right of the community screen. So we're going to take a look at that together actually. And then some text adjustments were adjusted or unified, and other small bug fixes as well. So I actually noticed something when I was looking through the UI, but then I totally forgot what it was I was looking at. So I'm like, damn, I wish I could have seen it. Oh, actually, I remember now. So before I forget. So when you go to and I don't think it was for this maintenance. I think it was for the previous one. But let's say I want to do, oh, here, under the ingredients. Was that there before? And it's just the first time I've seen it, because I only noticed this a couple days ago. So this, to me, in my head, this came about around the time that the Rousing Coffee came. So if you do Rousing Coffee, for example, and include Pokemon with the above unlocked, it's not that they have the option to unlock it later on, but they already have to have had it unlocked. Compared to if I do just like that, then you see all the, like, Aeron's my coffee weren't uncovered for that yet. So yeah, just thought that was pretty neat, because there has definitely been times where I'm looking for ingredients and then I see Pokemon and I'm like, oh shit, I could use that, only to realize later I can't because I didn't unlock it yet. Let's just go on the sleep style decks just so I can remove that sticker. Let's also pick up a reward. I was saving this to do this on screen with you guys, but I did unlock another dish. So we got 20 diamonds for that, and it's the Dizzy Punch Spicy Curry that I made earlier this week. Hopefully I'll be able to make the bigger curry dish, so I gotta start farming on that. So there's been a change to the sharing option of the research community. Sharing option for tracking devices is turned on, and you can choose what information shared with friends from the sharing option screen. So bottom right here, sharing option screen. Okay. Let's go through that. Oh, Spider Roganai grew closer with friendship level 4. Congrats to us. And basically this is what you can choose to share on and off. I don't mind sharing all this, so I'm just going to keep it as is. So you guys know the drill. It is the research community tab time. I got my matcha here. I'm using the rest of the oat milk that I have in my fridge. So because of that, the remaining created a beautiful foam when I was mixing it up. So this just looks so gorgeous. I feel bad that I have to give it a stir. But I hope you guys have been doing well. I've been doing fantastic. I decided to take the last 2 days off because, I don't know, I was just tired, you know? There's just something about the fluctuating change of weather where I am that is just making me feel so exhausted lately. So in Canada, we use Celsius, right? But basically, for the last 2 days, it's been like really nice weather. Like 18, 19, feeling like 20 degrees Celsius. But for the rest of the week, it's going to drop to nearly half of that. So like 13 degrees and such. So that's quite a stark contrast. Very cold. And it's really affecting my skin because I just feel so dry and itchy everywhere. Like my scalp is so dry that it's getting itchy, and I'm noticing like little cracks around my thumb especially. And it's just so drying. What can I say? And I just hate it. Actually, it's so bad that I noticed it with my performance in pole yesterday because I just kept slipping. There's some moves that you're inverted upside down, and that requires you to have a really good grip on the pole with your entire body, especially your legs. And I just kept slipping, and I felt so frustrated. And then I noticed like there were so many like dry flakes on my tights and my top, and I was like, holy shit, this is like all dry skin, because you know, like the friction of the tugging on the pole and everything. And my instructor at the end was like, so how'd you feel today at pole? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know what it is, but I just keep slipping. And she's like, you know what, because she's Asian too, she was like, I noticed that a lot of my Asian students share the same sentiment and the same concern. It's usually around the winter months that they're so dry that they don't have enough moisture on their skin to get a good grip. So she recommended that I exfoliate a lot more, and that during our warm-up sessions I should keep some clothes on, like sweats and a hoodie, just so it helps me warm up a little bit more, so that my body can produce some sweat and moisture to help me stick on the pole. Cheers. Beautiful. Look at that foam up there. Yeah, that was my Wednesday. And afterwards, so I'll work on Wednesday and then I'll go to Tuesday. So that was my Wednesday. I had a really good pole session despite, you know, not being able to stick on the pole as much. I'm trying to land this new trick, but it's proving to be quite difficult because I am upside down and I have to use a lot of forearm strength to push myself away from the pole, as well as keeping my balance. And yeah, it's just a lot. I also got like some markings on my armpit area. I didn't even notice until I visited my best friend later, and she was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she pointed out the marks on my armpit because I did one move where you're kind of like supporting your entire weight with the grip of your armpit. And it doesn't hurt, like I feel no physical pain, but the sight of it looks like it's damn painful. So when I came home later after hanging out with my best friend, my boyfriend was like, oh no, what happened? So I had to tell him about it as well. But dinner with my friend was really nice. It was just the two of us. We had some Indian food, which was really nice because there's this Indian food place near her that I absolutely love. They don't deliver to my area though. So I was really happy eating that. And then we just talked, catched up a bit, and hung out with her for a little because I had to get home, you know, and she had to get some stuff done as well. But overall, it was a really lovely Wednesday hanging out with my best friend. When I came home, my boyfriend and I, he was already showering when I got home, so I decided to take a shower as well. He waited for me to come home so that he can eat. And I felt so bad because I came home at like, 9:30ish? So I ate my leftovers with him while he ate the leftover pasta that I made him the night before. And he just loves that pasta. Honestly, I think what makes it taste good that he likes so much is the fact that I put 2 little cans of liver spread in it. And it just adds the most beautiful, it makes for the most beautiful texture for your sauce, but also just tastes so delicious and packed with protein, which is really good. So he loved that. He wants some more. So I might make more today for him. But after we ate dinner, we watched Love is Blind, the new episode, the wedding episode. I have to say though, my heart broke for Marissa during that scene where, if you didn't watch yet, this will be spoilers, but when Ramses broke up with her and she was just blindsided and she was like asking him for what his reason was. And honestly, his reasons just made me feel so like, huh? Because it wasn't concrete enough. He basically was like, it's just like, I feel like your energy is too much. Our energies are not matching. And I would be so frustrated if I were her, because up until now, you had me believing that we're picking out wedding songs together. We're doing this and that. We're planning our wedding. And you're making me really believe from what you're saying that this is like, you're for sure. Only to like switch it up later and can't even give me a concrete explanation or reasoning as to why you don't want to work it out, like, or get married. Like, I would feel so blindsided like she was. But then again, like, I can empathize with Ramses in the sense that if he's not feeling it, I feel like the heavy doubts that he had, even if he wasn't able to fully articulate them, he probably did them both a favor by saying no at that point, you know? Because I know and I feel like people deserve to be with others who choose them as much as they choose their partner. So it was just so heartbreaking, especially when she was on the phone call with her mom and she was like, Mom, it hurts. And it's just like, oh, that was so painful to watch. But we have 14 minutes left. My boyfriend got tired afterwards, so we had to stop watching. And that was like right before Taylor and Garrett walk down or get to the aisle. And I'm like, God, I know what's gonna happen, because I just feel like they're a yes, but I just want to see it, you know? Like, what are the odds Taylor and Garrett's wedding is on the 13th. Taylor's parents got married on the 13th, and then we find out later on that Garrett's parents also got married on the date of the 13th. How full circle is that? And that was my Wednesday. My Tuesday, pretty relaxed Tuesday. Spent a lot of time just doing chores, prepping, meal prep and groceries and such. But my boyfriend and I watched this really sad Thai movie. It is called How to Be a Millionaire Before Grandma Dies, I believe is the title. I highly recommend you guys watch it. It is just so sad. And it's a story about inevitable death in the family, caregiving, greed, taking care of people who can't take care of themselves, and those who are capable of taking care of you for the wrong reasons. And it's just so sad. Like, my boyfriend and I cried. It was such a heartwarming movie. And I gotta say, Thai people, especially their commercials, like, they do sad very well. I've watched plenty of Thai commercials before on like YouTube and stuff, the early days of YouTube when these things would get uploaded. And they're just so damn sad. Like, they do sadness so well. So I highly recommend you guys watch that. I'm still like buzzing about the Substance movie that we watched on Monday. I absolutely love that movie. It was just, people say it's like Barbie but for the horror girlies, and I can kind of see that, although I feel like the messaging around Substance is a lot more subtle compared to what it is in Barbie, where it's all just really in your face. There's some subtle nuances in Substance that really has to, like, requires you to think a little bit more into it. And the more I see people talking about it, the more I'm just like so intrigued by how different gender groups react to the message overall of Substance, which is just so interesting to watch unfold, you know? And if you guys haven't watched it yet, this isn't too much of a spoiler. I think this is kind of like the overarching premise of the movie, especially if you watch the trailers, like, you'll know this, but basically this older woman gets offered a substance that reverts her back to her younger self. And I think when you're watching that movie, you're wondering, like, are they both sharing a conscience? And I think the answer is yes. Because when you think about it, there's this one quote where it's like, the youth is wasted on the young, but don't let the wisdom of youth be wasted on you, or something like that. And it just makes me think about how when you're younger, you don't think so much about the repercussions of how your actions will affect your older self, that you do not yet know, you know. But you guys are one of the same, you and your future older self. Like, you haven't met her yet, but you're going to reach that point. But everything you do now in your youth is going to affect her. So if you decide to eat like shit, if you don't, you know, prioritize your health and working out in a healthy way, if you are a chain smoker and you are running on constant low sleep, when you're young, you feel like you can get away with it because you're just so living in the moment, until that catches up to you and your older self is looking back at your younger self and you're like, why didn't you just behave? Like, why did you have to do all that? Because now I'm dealing with it, and then you're upset at your younger self, while always having to remind yourself, like, that was you, you know? That was you. But you just know better now, and you have to learn to appreciate what you have now, and hopefully don't make the same mistakes as you did in your youth for your even more older self moving into the future. And yeah, it's just so well done. And I just feel like it's such a shame when people can't look past certain things because of just how we're socialized, you know? Especially when you see like young, sexy women on the screen and the message behind all that. Some people might just take it for face value and not really understand like why certain scenes were put there on purpose. Especially like the makeup scene when Elizabeth Sparkle is getting ready for her date, and then she has like nearly a mental breakdown and decides to not go. Not really a spoiler either, because I don't go into like too much detail, but or too much detail that spoils from the movie. But it was definitely an interesting scene to witness and dissect. Ending scene though was like, wow, very much worth a watch if you guys still haven't yet watched it, or if you're not looking for something that's too commentary on our current state of society. I think How to Be a Millionaire Before Grandma Dies is something that really hits home, because some of us still may have grandmas. I'm very fortunate that I still have my grandma and grandpa from my mom's side, as well as my great grandma from my mom's side. On my dad's side, I was able to meet my grandma before she passed away later, but that was like the only time I've met her. But I've spent most of my time with my grandparents from my mom's side, and I love them. They really make me feel loved in a way that you truly only get from grandparents. So watching that movie just really made me miss Vietnam and made me miss my grandma, you know? But that was my 2 days away from you guys. I hope that you guys had a wonderful 2 days as well. Maintenance is here, and very interesting stuff that came along with it. Can't wait for the Halloween event, for the fun gathering of candy, catching more exclusive, quote unquote, Pikachus. We got a second colored hat Pikachu. Last year was orange, this year is purple. And hopefully just more opportunities to find that goddamn Drifloon, because I still have not yet encountered one. And the one before just got full. So very upset about that. I'm so jealous about Fabian's Drift Blim that he named Morderer, which I found is, or Morderer. Yeah. But I just find that's like such a unique name, but I'm so jealous. The design of Drift Blim is so cute too. But thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this and catching up. And I can't wait to talk to you guys in tomorrow's video. So until then, take care, good luck, and have fun. Bye.